All right, Mike and Tiffany with that'sgoodenough.me.com. We're doing our Who's Zoomin' Who series. We're here with Lynn from Bad Cop, Bad Cop. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How you guys doing?
Great.
Fantastic.
Woo, cheers. Cheers.
Cheers. Chin Don.
Chin chin.
Yes.
Chin chin.
Right. For starters, I wanted to talk about Weekend at Fatty's. Obviously, it was pre-recorded, which is a good idea. But I wanted to talk about the experience. I was only able to catch a little bit of a pirated YouTube version of NoFX's set last night.
Because they only had it for 48 hours. I think it was aired for 48 hours.
Yeah, I can't do that kind of temporary purchase thing right now with a 3-year-old because if she decides that I'm not going to watch it, then I can't just put it off for a week. So I wanted to talk about your set. Did you guys play early in the night? Yeah,
we played in like the afternoon. I mean, it all kind of started pretty early. So yeah, but it was kind of like the lineup. I mean, it was strange, but it was cool. Like NoFX played first.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, NoFX played first, and then Slightly Stupid played, and then we played, and we only played 4 songs.
Oh wow!
We kept it short. We NoFX played for 45 minutes, I think it was. I think it was 45 minutes. Yeah, it's 45 minutes. Slightly Stupid played for 30 minutes. We played for 15. Get Dead played for 15. And then Fishbone just did what Fishbone did. So they played however long Fishbone plays. So
cool. Well, I hope Fat makes the whole thing available to us in a more permanent sense at some point. But namely, I wanted to talk about, since I only caught the NoFX performance, but you know those songs that you write as a band that are complicated, maybe the more complicated songs. Do you have songs in Bad Cop, where they're like, we can never start the set with this song? Because as NoFX opened with Sold Out, I was like, Sold Out is such a clunky song and it's so complicated that I was seeing their brains moving like, man, it would be so great to play this song maybe 7th instead of opening with it.
You know, deciding the set list has become like, you know, I've always been the type of person that's like, put it on the set list, just tell me what to play. And like, if there are parts where you want like the songs to go into each other and like not pause, just let me know. I'm totally open to it. And I never really, like, I'm going to perform the way I'm going to perform. But now I'm really understanding and valuing, like, the girls' decisions. As much as, like, it can be a pain in the ass because there's, you know, everybody's got their opinion. And 4 people, let alone having an opinion, might not all work out very well. But we come to a compromise, which is nice. Like, we treat this band as, like, we're all equals. Like, everybody's got an equal say in the band, period. And I remember when, like, we tried songs like, I remember we tried Nightmare as a start. And it was, the ideas of it is great. Like, you just quiet and then hello, hello, hello. What a hell of an intro, right?
Yes.
But then as we were doing that, and we did it for a little while, and as rad as it wasn't getting the impact that we wanted. Like, we didn't get the response. We want the audience, we want people to know we're not here to fuck around. Not up here. We look cute, but that's not the point. You know? Like, we are here to show our individuality. All 4 of us are fucking different. All 4 of us. We all look distinct, you know? Like, that's an incredible thing to be in a band where a lot of times it is, you know, the front person that it's focused on. But in this case, there's 3 front people, and you know what? We have a bomb-ass drummer, so you know what? You got a 4th front person right there. We all have crazy-ass personalities. So we really have to work on, like, what melds us together as people, as a band, and, like, songs as well, like song arrangements. So for the longest time, we chose Retrograde as the intro because it's just coming out and punching you in the dick. Yes. Or the taint, or whatever, in the gut. Doesn't matter. It's just going to come out and punch you. But I mean, there have been songs that, I mean, I don't really remember. We've done Retrograde as an intro for so long. I think we've tried Womanarchist before, and it was like cool, but it wasn't the same feeling. Like there was something about starting with Retrograde where it was like the feeling was there. We were all on that level, you know? So, but yeah, I think it just really depends on like what you guys all want to feel when you play a show. What drives the show to be the best for you personally. And if it happens to be that we start off with this song, awesome. Then the rest of the fucking show will be rad.
Perfect.
All right. Sorry, I'm going to dive in real fast. Like a lot of what you're saying really kind of mirrors exactly the way my notes are set up here. So if I could just kind of walk through the Bad Cop discography very, very briefly with you here. But I noticed, I went through and I listened to the entire discography today because I just wanted to be prepared, to have a conversation today. And
I get it.
Yeah, So there's such a distinct change in the songwriting from Boss Lady to just to Warriors. Like Boss Lady, I felt like there was, I don't want to say that it was almost like an album trying to prove itself, but there were 4 distinct songs with, I think, Rodeo just being the absolute, just like what a standout track. There was no other song, like, especially with a band with all women in it, that there was nothing else that sounded like that. But there was so much confidence, and there was just so much like, hey, we're here. I think with that album, where then leading into Not Sorry, I just, with the same kind of energy and just the title of the album alone, I think like as you said, like when you launch into that album, first song on that album, I can't get it to my mind. It's Nightmare.
Seriously?
Sorry.
Oh, is it Nightmare?
Yeah, and there's
great song starter for an album.
An amazing,
not necessarily a great song to start for a show, though.
But you could just hear how much fun you guys were having with it. Like my notes are that like this sounds like an early Fat Wreck album. Like it sounded like it could have came out like the year after How to Clean Everything. Like it just has like all of that. It just has so much fun energy behind it, and there's so much confidence exuding from the songs. But I do get what you mean, where I don't want to say that there wasn't a lot of, I don't want to say there wasn't weight behind the songs. There was weight, but there was so much like cheekiness, and a lot of it was like a wink a little bit. And I can a little bit back of what you were saying. Like I agree that like you guys were there and everybody was super hot, but everybody was really good at their instruments, and everybody was there to perform and not just outshine each other or be the front person. Like you were performing always for the room and not just for a camera.
And for each other too.
And for each other, yeah.
Like we want to make sure, like if there's one thing that like I feel like, I don't know, I guess it depends on the band that you're in. Like if you're in a band with people that like, I've been in this band for almost 10 years, you know what I mean? There's a reason why it's been 10 years. Every band has its ups and downs. Every band has its clash of personalities. We've all been there. But I think what's the important part is like, despite all that, do you still consider this person like a friend, a family member, and like no matter how shitty circumstances could be between you guys, it could be the most petty fucking stupid shit, because we're all like that. We're all like that. Band or not, you're all like that. I'm like that.
Absolutely.
But like, is it worth just being like, bye, I'm going to throw it away? Or do you want to like give this person the opportunity to change, and therefore helping yourself evolve to understand what this person's about too, and like move forward together? And I think that's where it all comes from. So like what makes us who we are, because when somebody's having an off day, you can tell. And like, and I'm not even talking about just an audience perspective. I don't think you can really tell from an audience perspective, which is fine, which is great. Like the audience is still captivated. Great. That from that point of view, awesome. You don't have to see that. But as a performer, as a band member, as a sister, it throws everything off of, I mean, there's 4 people in the band. Need all 4 of us to stay level. One person's off. It's uneven. Can't do that. Can't make that work. If it's a 3-person band, I don't know how the fuck you make that work out. Maybe it has to be 1, 2, 3. We're not talking about that.
I was gonna say I could talk in great length about that, but we'll save that for another day.
But for us, it's about balance, and all of us have to be balanced. Even if it's not 2 and 2 on one side, if you put each person at an equal distance together and one person's off, it throws the whole fucking thing off.
Yeah, especially you guys have known and worked with each other for so long. You spend so much time on the road together. You spend so much time doing tours and just interacting with other people, interacting with strangers, and only having each other. Like, yeah, I mean, that kind of dynamic is really important. I mean, it's important that you guys can at least go, hey, you know what? If tonight's a bad night, that's fine. At least there's tomorrow.
Yeah, we start again. We talk about it, and like, you have to also want to talk about it too. It's not going to work if you don't want to talk about it. But it's understandable if that person, or if it's myself, doesn't want to talk about it right then and there. It's also important to set boundaries. Like, it's kind of like one of those things where we just kind of all need to respect each other's everything, right? And compromise. So that way this machine can run cohesively.
That's the word I was going to use, is cohesion. And it's the conversation that I had with the guys in Lawrence Arms, which also has co-singers, multiple lead singers, is just, and Brendan put it really well, a little more self-deprecated than I would, but that's kind of his humor, was that he feels like it's a huge opportunity to be able to help Chris tell his story, because he looks up to, he adores his songwriting ability so much. Yeah. Whereas he Brendan wrote off his own songs as being bad, which is a lie. But then saying, Chris is able to prop up his, and I think what makes Bad Cop songs really good is as the lead singer changes, the other supporting singers are just like, nope, this is my story as well. This is our story for this song. Then we're going to move on to the next one. And The Ride in particular was my first time listening to the band. So very excited about that. I wasn't going to tell you until you leaked that you missed like 15 years of propaganda when you did that podcast.
Oh yeah. I'm glad you listened to that podcast, because I was like, when I did that interview, I was like, I have to be honest. Like, I'm not going to try to fake this or anything. Like, I didn't listen to propaganda for 15 years. Till we had to go on tour with them. I was like, oh shit, I got some shit to catch up on. Listen.
Exactly.
Writing down my homework. Well, just like you did, Tiffany, you got to listen. You got to take the time and do your homework. And that's what I wanted to do to prepare myself for that tour. I'm not going to, I'm holding myself accountable for that shit. So.
Well, I think, I owe it to Jeff at that'sgoodenough.me.com, who vetted me at Punk News originally. We reviewed records there, as really kicking me in my 30s in the ass, like 4 or 5 years ago, into being like, wow, I don't listen to punk rock music anymore. I claim that I listen to it, but I realized that it was like, I'd put on Live Fast Diarrhea, and then I'd listen to Devo, and then I'd work on some of my own music, and then I'd listen to Baby Shark with my daughter for 4 hours. And if there's something that doing the Zoom interviews has been like, oh fuck, I've only heard 6 Pairs songs, and then so I need to do my research, and then walking away from it, I'm just, god damn, how did I miss that?
It's okay. It's okay. It's better late than never. And I think, you know what? This is now your opportunity to be able to catch up to things that you might have missed, and that's okay.
Well, I should have videotaped myself stomping around in my living room while my daughter was watching YouTube. She hasn't listened to Potemkin City Limits yet. She's on Fat Wreck. She hasn't listened to Supporting Cast. But no, I'm glad that you owned it, and honestly, it was listening to that podcast that made me decide I'm not going to bullshit my way through another Zoom without just saying, I slept on your band. You guys are really good.
Good for you. And I think that's, people are going to say what they want to say about it, but I find that to be that's an even more, I don't know, cool thing to find out though, you know, like I would have never guessed that you just listened to us, you know, on the last album. And that's rad that you, based off of that, you made the decision to have me as a guest. Like, that's fucking rad, you know?
The album is so good. It's and you know, as Tiffany put it, it's just funny it's funny as like an older Fat Wreck fan to find a new Fat band, check out their discography. It's nice and neat and short. It's like there's 3 full lengths, right, and some EPs, and just pop it in and be like, I understand why Mike would like this band. You know, I understand why Fat Mike would sign this band because they're fucking great.
Thank you.
So I have a question based on that. I made a quick note. I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm reading your Wikipedia page is really funny because it's so short and it's so brief, and it's
my height.
Yeah, like your height, and it's just like very brief. And there's like this one line that's like, Stacy begged Fat Mike to come to a show, and Fat Mike showed up and signed him the next day. So I mean, I love how short and concise that is because that's probably exactly how that happened. But do you know, was there like a general conversation around picking labels, or was it just like, I know this guy is going to love our shit, and like we're in a prime location, let's take advantage of it?
So Stacy's been friends with Mike for years, you know, but we all know that Stacy has been in fucking bands in the Bay Area, in the San Francisco Bay Area, for fucking Angry Amputees, Compton SF, like, you know, she's been around. She's been in that scene for so long, and you know, we got asked to play this amazing little tiny festival called Lilith Bear. You heard that right? Lilith Bear. And it was us and one other band, and everybody but us that was performing were drag queens. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is gonna be awesome. And like, it's in San Francisco at this club called Truck, I think it was called. And the stage was makeshift as fuck. Like, it was terrifying to see. The place caught on fire like 3 hours after or before we had to go load in or some shit. It was a gnarly ass night, but it was super fun. And like, everybody that performed that night, like somebody did Miley Cyrus and brought a knife and just like threw it to the ground, like to wrecking balls, like, yeah. So we played that show, and you know, Stacy had invited Mike to the show, Mike and Stone with Snake Oil, and I didn't even know who they were. Like, I wasn't even into like punk music really until I was in my 20s, like my early to mid 20s. And even then I'm more of a hardcore kid. Sorry. Like, I don't know what people look like. And it was like, he had his blue hair and shit. Like, I just remember distinctly. Oh no, he didn't have blue hair at the time. He wore a blue adolescent shirt. And I looked at that and I was like, oh, that's a red adolescent shirt. But I still didn't even know that was mine. I didn't even know he came because I was drunk that night. I had some friends come. It was a great time. But then I didn't even know he was there. But you know, obviously the girls told me. And I was like, oh, cool. And then shortly after that, I mean, they waited to tell me and Jenny, I think, or at least me. I don't know. Stacy was the first to find out, but I think it may have been the next day. But either way, it was a very short period in time. And Mike had reached out to Stacy and said, if they can sound this fucking good live, then I want them. And I was like, oh, Brad,
sign me up.
Sick. Let's do it. You know, why not? So it's been a hell of a ride since. I mean, we're kind of on a halt right now, but
yeah.
Surely.
I wanted to talk about the release of the ride. I can't remember the official release date.
I do. It's June 19th.
Okay.
A date that I wish I would. done a different date. Okay, well, we won't even get into that, but
I understand what you mean and why, and that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a tough year.
The date was already determined, but because I can't speak for anybody else in the band, but pretty sure none of us, and I definitely did not know the importance behind that date. I did not know until this year, and that is the sick fucking part of our our education system and history. Like, we should have been able to be told about this and taught this. But anyways, yeah. So June 19th. June.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. I was mostly asking, just due to the fact that, everybody that we've been talking to either released an album and got totally fucked by COVID as far as promoting it, or they decided to release it during at some point. Because it was a very strange record release decision for everybody that had something cooking, and then of course everybody that's now written songs out of boredom and is ready to put out another release.
Yeah. We had to release it this year. We were already planning to. We were on tour when this shit was happening, when this shit first started, and then 2 weeks in, we saw the decline in our shows, like, being canceled and shit, and then we eventually had the rest of our tour canceled and coming back, and so we were thinking about this, like, I said we should still release it. It sucks that we can't tour around it. Of course it sucks. Like, it's a shit. This is a fucked up time right now. A real fucked up time. But we got to give the people something.
Absolutely.
It's less about the tours and more about the importance behind the songs. Absolutely. People are dying for new music, and I know that, like, the two songs that I'd written on the album, like, they were just out of pure, like, I know the election's happening this year. I'm not fucking shutting up about this. And we all knew that it just had to be released. And I encourage any band out there that's hesitant, that wants to release music, like, do it.
And this is
because it's worth it. It's worth it. People are going to recognize. And if you do, hit me up. I want to listen to it.
Definitely. And this kind of piggybacks off of a conversation that Tiffany and I had about this interview, was just talking about the political drive behind the ride as compared to the other releases. A little bit. This album's a lot more serious in nature, and I think that translates to the fucking White House and everything terrible that's going on in the world.
Yeah, sorry.
No, go for it.
I'd say, like, the voice is definitely a little different. Like, from Warriors even to now, like, Warriors, I think, is certainly a record of healing. I mean, even, like, outside of anything that was going on personally within the band at that time, but there was so much going on politically in 2017, where 1 year into a Trump presidency, you had the whole Me Too movement happening. And I found that so many of those songs really did center around just, like, just woman who had enough and is now standing up. And I think now with the ride, it's less about, like, female solidarity and more just like, we all really need to, like, start fucking paying attention and taking care of each other and just looking at this with one eye and not just as individuals. I think that message really comes through in the ride.
Thank you. I mean, we are huge. We want, if anything that we should promote is inclusivity, because we are all in this together. And the moment that anybody is, disregarded, unless you're a fucking Nazi, because you can go fuck yourself. But anybody, Warriors itself was, that was, to me, that was like a direct response to the 2016 election. This was about, it was about like our response, our personal feelings behind the effects of that particular election and what that was going to turn this country fucking into. And now I feel that with the ride, that's more about like, it is more about self-discovery. I think, if anything, I know that Stacey and Jenny's songs in particular are mainly about like just how can we express like, confidence in a world that is so restricted on what a person should be like. I'll never be a simple girl, for example. You have these expectations. Anybody can have expectations for you, but it's up to you to write down what you want to be. So I'll never be that simple girl, for example. Perpetual motion machine is like from the topic of, you can find love with yourself first. Like, you don't have to rely on outside sources to make yourself feel complete, basically, or at least that's the way I interpret it. As far as the harshness is concerned, I wrote Pursuit of Liberty and Certain Kind of Monsters from a perspective that I was outraged, absolutely outraged by the treatment of people that that have worked so hard to make a living here and only to be told they're getting kicked out.
Yes, absolutely.
And coming from a family of refugees, I don't even need that to even ignite or fuel my feelings towards that, because I think it's fucked up. I think anybody that is wanting a chance at a chance to put themselves in a better position to provide for their family, to give their kids the opportunity, they absolutely have every fucking right to do that here. This is the fucking land of opportunity. And we should, and as the virtually the slogan of this nation, we should, as citizens, embrace that and bring them in with warm welcome, so we can all work together, so we can all achieve the same things as we can. And I cannot believe that there are so many people out there that are just so blinded by their fear of people of color, African Americans, everybody, people that are not white. It's sickening, and the Pursuit of Liberty song, that was the first time I ever put any personal experience into a song. I'll usually just write about a topic and how I feel about it. But this was a topic that, touches very personally. Even though I didn't personally experience it, I was born 10 years after that. Almost 10, no, not quite. It was like 7 years, but still. I was born after that. But my parents and my sister, my mom was pregnant with my other sister during that. They experienced all that. So their experience has helped shape me into the person that I am. And the person that I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give these. I want people to see it from this perspective. Absolutely. And if you can't, you better fucking learn.
Oh yeah, fix hard or die.
I had such a warped experience evaluating my life throughout all of this that's been happening. For starters, I was born in El Paso, Texas. So when I was born, or in the place that I was born, you just went to Mexico, and people from Mexico came to El Paso, and it was, my parents would go out on a date and cross the border and go eat dinner, and it wasn't a fucking big deal. I moved to like bumfuck Nebraska and found out that my neighbors were suddenly evil, and you know, I was, what the fuck are you talking about? I was a third grader, and even as a third grader, I was like, hey mom, how come everybody in class is white now? You know?
Yeah.
But also just my wife's parents fled the Vietnam War to come live here, and they had a fantastic life, and they both have very unique stories to tell about their previous life in Vietnam and fleeing some really scary shit. So, you know, reading about mass hysterectomies, for example, in ICE camps, and all these fucking horrible things, it's just decades that are taking it from happening to my own family. And it makes me as a white person feel fucking guilty. It makes me furious. And then it also makes me catch myself when I'm listening to a good song or playing Mario Kart on a Friday night and saying, like, how can I just live my life like this while this horrible shit is happening? And what can I do to try to stop it?
I mean,
donate the bail funds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donate to Risis, which is are you familiar with Risis?
Yes.
Donate to them. Donate to NARAL. Donate to the ACLU. Donate, like, it's I don't understand how people can look at themselves in the mirror or like wake up knowing that they do this, you know?
Yes.
It's incredible. And like, you know, it's like even more disheartening. Like, I mean, I moved to California like 10 years ago. I'm from the East Coast. And like, there's a very, very heavy Vietnamese population in Southern California. There's Little Saigon, for example, in Westminster and Garden Grove. And, you know, even some of the politicians that are there that were running for office and stuff like that, that were like, they're Vietnamese and against sanctuary cities. And I'm like, the fuck? Is that the most ass backwards thing that you could possibly see?
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, nobody should be refusing sanctuary cities, though. Exactly. Sanctuary is in the fucking word, you know? Yeah. I just don't understand people's lack of compassion.
Yeah. No, I think Tony Sly, you know, rest in peace, Tony. The song "In the Garden," in this garden, is a beautifully written song about, you know, working on Capitol Hill, seeing the poverty all around you, seeing the negative that you're creating in the world, but just like putting your head down and just being like, I'm rich, or whatever the fuck you get out of being a wealthy politician. But yeah, it needs to change. Yeah,
it does. And like, I know the elections, I mean, I'm going to keep telling people to register to vote. I just checked yesterday, made sure, get my mail-in ballot. My husband, same way, he's going to get his mail-in ballot. But like, this election's fucking terrifying. It's so scary. I don't want Joe Biden either.
Yeah.
But I am sorry. No matter what argument you put forth to me, these are our candidates. And we already know what one has already done in this period of time, in this short period of time, right? And in the most recent period of time. As much as I don't care for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I have to believe, and this is the reality of the situation, no matter how many progressives out there want to fucking complain about it. Hit me, I don't care. But you cannot deny that they're the only candidates that are capable of listening and actually implementing and doing something about the shit that's happening right now. You're not going to get that with the fucking current piece of shit right now.
No.
Yeah.
Not going to do that. And I know that they voted previously, against a bunch of things that we stand for. I can't get into specifics. I don't want to get into specifics because I don't want to missay anything. But I think that despite all that, I think they have the capability of the change that we at least need to start.
Even if it's just a social change for right now, I mean, there's just such a constant feeling of social unrest, and everyone has an eye to the news to find out, like, what did that dumb shit say today? Like, what nonsense came out of his mouth? And at this point, it really does feel like just pointless fodder, because it just keeps us upset and it just keeps us so disconnected. And if anything, a Biden presidency will bring is maybe just some sort of I don't know. I really can't even say that confidently, because I feel like the closer we get to November, it's just like the veil has been lifted back.
But that's the thing, and that's the thing. That's all we can say confidently at this point in time. You know what I mean? Like, that's all we can really hope for right now, is at least it'll be some sort of way to start the change that we need.
I mean, Biden's not going to say China virus on TV a bunch of times. I'm pretty confident in that.
I'm pretty confident in that.
Yeah, probably not.
That was another thing. The morning I found out that my child that was being born was going to be a girl, which is what my wife and I were like rooting for, because she had a name picked out 12 years earlier. But we had the OB write it in a note, and we I think we went out to eat, and then we wanted to find out alone in our living room before we had to go back to work, and we found out that we were having a girl, and of course we're like, awesome, we got exactly what we wanted. I got back to work and opened my web browser, and the grab 'em by the pussy thing had just became a thing. And I was like, really hope that guy doesn't win. And then, of course, he did. And then, okay, so I already knew that I was going to have to raise this child to know that they run their own life, that they can accomplish anything that they want to accomplish, and that there are no boundaries or rules set to them. And Tiffany, like you said, and then the news items just start coming every day. Anti-women, anti-Asian, racist, fucking retweeting white supremacy. Like, it's got to stop.
Telling the people in Minnesota they have good genes. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, this spiral.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's talk about bad cop, Tiffany.
So, but I can actually just bring up why having an album like The Ride is really important, because I think when Trump was elected, there was a whole talk of, punk rock's going to get really cool again. And everyone really rolled their eyes super hard, that their eyes came fully forward and found that no one was doing any of it. No one wrote that album.
You should be a comedian.
Thank you. I talk about this a lot with my girlfriends who are into punk, and a lot about just kind of what separates a band full of women playing punk from like if The Ride was written by four guys. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but if I listened to The Ride and it was an album by four guys, I feel like it maybe wouldn't touch me in the same way, that knowing that here are these four women who have been through, any number of things, any number of experiences, your family experiences, your individual experiences. And I just, I'm sorry, I'm going to gush a little bit, but from the first time I listened to Bad Cop, I just got the sense that, like, man, all these girls are friends and they want to make friends, and their music is so accessible to other girls and even to guys. But it's just so for girls in punk, just that kind of thing is always at an arm's reach, because I feel girls in the scene are maybe forced to either appeal to what a guy what the guys are looking for, or to maintain that mean girl attitude, or to be fully pussies and periods, which is not everyone's experience, and you can't constantly sing that in 2020. So again,
unless you're J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, unless you're J.K. Rowling, apparently, and you just have $1 billion and you could talk out your ass endlessly. God,
so sad. I'm so bummed about that. I was like, what?
Oh my God.
You just ruined Harry Potter for me.
Yeah, but like you have nothing else better to do.
I'm gonna take you guys with me real quick because
let's travel.
I need a refill and I need to turn the light on because it's getting dark.
Okay.
But you guys will get a glimpse of my balcony.
Lovely.
So I slept on Star Wars. I slept on Star Wars and Harry Potter. Like I saw the original Star Wars, but when all the newer, cooler ones started coming out, I was like, I'll watch them all in a row sometime. And then everybody's like, you never read or watched Harry Potter? I was like, I'll get around to it. I trust you guys. And then as soon as all that news broke, I was like, fuck yeah, I don't have to undertake that anymore.
Oh man, I mean, it's just, I don't know. Harry Potter's just a charming story for me. I don't know. There's something about it. Although I would have appreciated it more if it was centralized around Hermione, but you know.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
I mean, there just needs to be more female heroes, you know, female characters. Oh, there's my cat on the kitchen counter. Anyway, sorry.
That's a really good point, though, because now that I'm thinking about it, the only other female characters in Harry Potter beyond Hermione are, what do you got?
Luna Lovegood.
Luna Lovegood, who's just...
And Ginny Weasley.
Ginny Weasley, and then just, like, an assortment of, like, one of every international kind of girl, like, with really hard, expensive names.
Oh, Cho.
Yeah, Cho Chang. Doesn't make any sense.
That's, like, I don't know. There was now that I think about it, no. I'm all looking at my books now. I'm like, shit. I gotta
since I'm working from home, I watch Disney Plus for 8 hours a day. Well, kind of looking at a computer monitor. And so I've seen this, and I don't know how versed either of you are on new Disney movies, but there's been this increase, like, over correction of like strong female leads, strong female characters that aren't like prissy princesses, and it's transparent enough for me watching my daughter watching it to be like, those assholes are trying so hard to like fix the mistakes that they made. However, I'm seeing it influence my daughter in a positive way, you know, like
there's the other side to it.
So like Kristoff from Frozen, he doesn't even kiss the girl at the end. He like asks her for permission to kiss her, and it's like it's really cheeky, but it's like, okay, I guess I don't know. I guess it's a positive thing. I know it's coming from a very advantageous place, or a very guilty place, anyways. They're trying to run away from the past a little bit, but. It kind of goes back to Tiffany, what we were talking about earlier, is just like, oh, that band that has the chick bass player, Teen Idols, and like how, thank fucking God that that's not the norm anymore, that it was in the late 90s, in the thousands, that it was like a gimmick almost to have a woman in your punk band. At least it was in the Midwest where I live. So I kind of wanted to, well, I didn't want to talk about it at all. I wanted you two to talk about it.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think having that input, I mean, especially, I mean, you've written for punk news sites, like, so I think you've also kind of came across maybe, like, when the band that I'm in finally got started around, like, 2014, 2015, we were cursed with that female-fronted moniker for so long, but I think you're right. I think now in punk, that's been dropped because really, what's the fucking point? What's the point? It's a band. It has people in it playing music.
It's a marketing tool now.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, I feel now in 2020, I think the kids are smarter than that, and I think the kids don't need that kind of down. And I think it's
I agree.
The older crowd, you know? I don't know.
I agree. I agree with that. Like, I mean, that was just us, all female band. It's like, if you look at Yeah, we are. You know, like I don't know. I'm kind of neutral on it, to be honest, because it's like, you know, I don't know. It's never really bothered me, but I do understand where you're coming from. Where it's like that's just become like female fronted was always like a cliche almost. It's like
yeah.
Like the one thing I will say about that particular topic though is like, for a long time, and it's not so much now, or at least not that I've noticed, but anytime we were compared to somebody, it was always, no doubt, Joan Jett, like the Go-Go's or something, like, which is fine, but if I had a deeper voice in certain kind of monster, for example, that intro sounds like a Bad Religion intro.
Absolutely. I was going to say, so many of the songs on the new album sound like Bad Religion songs. Or they like capture that essence.
Yeah. You know, it's like, we could sound like other bands out there too. We could sound like just what we sound like.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't have to classify us as, you know, sounding like Gwen Stefani all the time, or or Brody Dahl, you know, which is a compliment. Like, it's flattering to be like, oh, thank you for thinking I sound like that, but that doesn't have to only be the compliment. You could just say, I like your voice.
Absolutely. Yes.
Green Day is an all-male rock band out of America. What we should do is just petition Wikipedia to just update all male bands and just mention that in their bio. But it is interesting. I moved to Lincoln from a smaller town to play music because that was where my band played. You know, we'd drive 2.5 hours to play in the big city. And I remember I was watching a 3-piece band with a female singer guitar player, and she was better at guitar than I'm ever going to be. And my buddy at the time leaned over to me. We were 18, you know, and we were from bumfuck Nebraska. My buddy was like, that's the only woman that plays music in the Lincoln, Nebraska music scene. and we were like, why? Why is she the only one?
Yeah.
And, you know, growing older, I started talking a lot about it, and I became friends with her. And of course our scene is expanded in ages, races, and genders, which is fantastic. And now everything's normal and totally fine. But I became friends with her over the years and heard some of the fucking horrible things that she had to deal with. And it's just very interesting. And it's frustrating because I moved here to play in a shitty band and didn't deal with any of it, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You get your share of some female-specific shittiness sometimes. I mean, not everybody. Like Stacey, I don't think Stacey's ever gone through anything like that. Thankfully, I've had my share. Doesn't mean it's a lot, but I've had my share. You know, but you do see it too. You do just like witness it. And you see it from women that do that to other women sometimes. Well, not so. I feel like it's evolved now. I feel like it's a lot better now. Mm-hmm. But like when I played in bands when I was younger, like in Philly, when I first played out here, you know, in the psychobilly scene, for example, I was in that scene for a hot minute. Like I play upright bass.
Hell yeah.
And people were like, you know, I was carrying my gear by myself, you know, 8'10" fucking bass cabinet, the size of a fucking refrigerator that's almost taller than me, unless I'm wearing heels. You know, being like, oh my God, are you carrying is your boyfriend making you carry your gear? You fucking kidding me? Get the fuck out of here with that fucking shit.
Yeah.
It's my gear, bitch.
Get out of the way.
No, it's like, don't, you know, and like, it wasn't just guys that did that, like women did that too. And like, but I think, like I said, I think that kind of mentality has evolved. I think it has, or at least it's less like that now. But before it was like that. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, why why is it such a shock that I'm playing upright bass? Like, it was an instrument I wanted to learn how to play. Turned out I ended up playing in a psychobilly band out of Philly. Well, they don't like to be called psychobilly, my bad. But they were like rockabilly, rock and roll. But
a little psycho.
Yeah, I mean, they wrote about a freaking serial killer clown. How psycho could you possibly be?
Right?
You know? But yeah, I played in that band for a few years. I think like almost 5 years. And like when we played this is like right before I moved to California, we did like 2 weeks in California. Had a couple shows in Southern California. We all hung out together and like just loading in my gear. Like this is before I had to change into my outfit because I had to wear outfits too.
Your face.
Like sometimes it was cute. Like, oh, that's a cute outfit. I like this outfit. Then you got to put heels on, and it's like, oh, it looks cute for like 5 minutes until I have to take them off. You know. So, but yeah, like if you were a female musician in a band, and especially if you weren't the front person, I wasn't the front person. And they had an agenda for the band, like, and if you were the only female, you had outfits. You had outfits. You had Skippy. Like, what was his name? He was a manager or whatever. Kim something. I can't think. Kim Foley, that creep. Or Fowley, whatever. He like founded the Runaways, and like like there's people that talk highly of that man because he like founded the Runaways, which is great. Like I'm proud of like the Runaways was a huge influence. I'm very proud of them. But that guy was a piece of shit. So
yeah, I mean it was a bunch of 17-year-old girls, and I guarantee that was a big appeal to any number of guys hanging around California. Well, you know, like
he came to one of our shows. He came to one of our shows, and like I'm wearing a pretty scantily clad outfit already. And he's like, we need to focus on this. We need to focus on this for the image of the band. I'm like, I don't want that.
I know.
I don't want that. No, that's creepy. That's creepy as fuck. You're old and you're creepy. Like,
yeah. But I think that
trying to be ageist.
But I think you're right, though. I think that plays into a lot of the reason why women tend to get that, like, poo-poo in playing music. Because it's like, oh, well, you just think you're being cute. It's like, oh, well, you just want to be hot. Well, you just want to be this. It's like, no, I just want to rock the fuck out. And why are there all these
write songs?
How I do it?
Yeah. You know, like, I don't know. I just, I think we're very lucky. Like, we've gotten the whole, like, sometimes, like, the sound guys were like, you don't know what you're talking about. Like, we're doing sound check, and we're like, we can't hear the monitor, buddy. Oh, no. It's something to do with your amp. And it's like, the fuck? No, the monitor is literally not on.
I was just in 6 other cities this entire week. Like, I think I
don't know. I've been playing this instrument for like 20 years. Like, we've been doing this now, heavily since, we got signed in 2014? I don't even know my own biography.
Yes.
But yeah, we've been going at it pretty hard since 2020 now. Like, that's 6 years of not being home a lot.
Yeah.
And,
what's that like adjusting now?
I miss it. I miss playing shows. I think any musician that loves to perform, touring is everything. This is like one of the hardest things. I can't personally imagine how it would feel like to have this as your only main source of income and not being like a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
What did he? I'm going to get all the numbers wrong, but Chris from Less Than Jake last night, that broke my heart so much. He said we've played like 180 shows a year for the last, I think he said 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
until this year. And it's like, wow. Can you he was like, I don't even know how to live my life. Yeah. He said, I don't know how to live my life any other way. Which will bring me to a question. I was curious, obviously you did Weekend of Fatties, but have you four talked about doing any sort of live streams, acoustic things? Are you writing new music right now?
We have done some live stream acoustic things, like after we had gotten back from Europe in March.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, March 14th, we flew home from Paris and made it.
Wow, you guys just barely made it. Oh my gosh.
That was crazy. We're on tour with a band called Make War. Check them out. They're fantastic.
I was supposed to play a show with them in the Bomb Pops in April that got canceled.
I
was so bummed about that.
No. What a wonderful group of guys. And quite honestly, to go through that whole thing, like while you're seeing your shows get canceled, like by the day, like being on call, like making, for the first call to be like, okay, new game plan kind of thing. They were the most like understanding and just they're like, yeah, we're in this together. Let's make this all work for everybody and stuff. So props to Make War. I love you, Primos.
Perhaps they will join us for a Zoom interview, Tiffany.
They're fun.
Oh, yeah.
They're great. They're fantastic.
All right. Well, unless you have anything else, Tiffany.
I don't think so. I mean, I think you had some questions that you wanted to talk about Vietnam a little bit, or did we touch on that for you?
We talked about it in such a serious manner that I decided that all of the quirky elements of belonging to a Vietnamese family wouldn't be as hilarious, I think.
Okay.
Let's give it a try.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's been interesting watching my grandmother-in-law go a little crazier. She lives with her daughter, and so she watches my daughter some of the time and has been teaching her some Vietnamese, but I don't speak Vietnamese. So it's very important.
Buddy.
Yeah, it's important to me that the language continues, and I've had conversations with my in-laws about it before, that just because of the different regions that they were at, they both, mom and dad both kind of speak different Vietnamese
dialects.
Yeah, and they kind of bicker about which one's right sometimes. And of course, everything I've ever tried to learn using the internet or anything like that, I've come up just totally wrong.
Yeah, Duolingo is a pretty cool app. But I'm trying to learn Vietnamese and Spanish.
I was playing with the new iPhone translation that came with the new iOS update. Playing around with it last night and saying things into it and having it read it back to me in Japanese. But of course, I have no idea. And Vietnamese language isn't on there.
What's your favorite Vietnamese dish? I'm asking both of you.
Okay.
I could eat 1 million banh mi's. I don't know any of the actual names of it, but I do like a banh mi that has pate.
Oh yeah.
And like the pork roll, or just like pork belly.
Jalo.
Yeah.
God, I love a good banh mi.
It's you know what it is? It's that pickled daikon and carrots and cilantro combination, baby.
Yes.
Add that cucumber in there. You could put that. I'm telling you, if you put that combination with rice and whatever kind of sauteed protein you want, like whether it's tofu that's been marinated in hoisin sauce if you're vegetarian or vegan, or if you have chicken or beef or pork, whatever, that vegetable combo, that vegetable medley is like, it like freshens up everything.
Yeah, no,
it does. It's so bright.
And it cures every hangover of all time. I'm going to go with like Boon Tit Nom or...
oh, nice.
Or there's May, the soup. However, there's my in-laws make what they call May Old Man, which is this very particular May recipe that an old man in Chicago made when they lived there. And
that's so cute.
It's
incredible.
These are things that I want to make. I'm like the chef in my family, so I want to make sure that I learn how to do all these things. But every time I ask my father-in-law, he just says these recipes are going to die with me. Sorry, buddy.
Oh, damn.
My old man has, I think, maybe artificial crab in it or something that's really unique and not particularly a part of the recipe. But I get to have it all the time, right? So when pho and banh mi started exploding in the Midwest in our gentrified areas, and everybody's calling me to talk to me about pho suddenly, or pho is what they would call it. But
of course,
my wife is like furious because she's like, this would be like me running up to you and being like, have you been to that new grilled cheese place? You got to try this grilled. They
She's
put
not
cheese
wrong.
in the bread. And so
they put cheese in the bread. The cheese in the bread, the butter on the one side.
When you have the luxury of eating these dishes at family dinner every single night for so many years, I don't know. I can't pay $24 for it at a bistro.
Oh my God, they charge you that much money for pho in the Midwest? That is illegal.
Yeah.
It's a $9 bowl of soup at best, and it's this big.
Oh, the Banh Mi Sheikh Ali restaurant chain in Southern California, they do half price chicken pho.
Yeah.
And it's $3.99 for the regular size. And you know that regular size is like an extra large regular human size.
Yep.
But if you get a chance, if you haven't already, I feel like Mikey may have had this considering that you have a Vietnamese wife. But the dish, for if anybody would ask me, like, what's your favorite Vietnamese dish? Bun xeo.
So
what's Vietnamese crepe?
Ah.
Oh, yep. Absolutely.
Bun xeo. Yeah.
Put the shell on.
Like you just essentially saute like garlic, onions, whatever kind of meat. It's typically with like shrimp and pork. And then you ladle on this batter that's made of rice flour, turmeric, and coconut milk with some sliced green onions in it. Or at least that's how I make it. Oh, and you know what makes it crispy? It's sparkling water or beer. But I'm allergic to beer, so I can't do beer. So sparkling water. Okay. And so you mix that batter in together, you ladle it on there, you fold it like a crepe, and then you serve it. You cut it into pieces. You serve it in you have like a lettuce wrap, so you put the little piece of bun xeo in the lettuce, add bean sprouts and cilantro and the pickled daikon and carrots, some cucumbers, some Thai basil, some mint. Wrap it all up in a lovely lettuce wrap and dip it in the fish sauce, typically, Nook Jam.
Yep.
And you just eat the shit out of it.
That sounds awesome.
Easily vegan. So vegans. Was this your daughter?
It's gorgeous. It's all beautiful, and it's colorful, and it cures hangovers, and it's great.
Vietnamese food. What can I say?
All right. We're going to have to do a bonus Zoom interview cooking series at some point for the site.
Yeah, I think we need to get like a soup recipe trade going around here. I'm really into that.
Well, Matthias from Millencolin has he has his own hot sauce company, and like Denny from 10 Foot Pole kept advertising this 10 Foot Pole beer that he had, and so Jeff and I mean we were joking mostly, but we were talking about doing that'sfoodenough.com, where we just talk food and beverage with some people.
We have a beer coming out.
Yeah, we have a beer coming out by Amplified Ales. It's to help support, it's called The Ride. It is a West Coast IPA. I believe it'll be available starting September 25th.
Oh, okay. So that's this Friday.
Great.
Hey.
And also, I don't know when this is. When is this going to air?
2 weeks, October 10th.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was going to say, because with the Amplified Ales thing, we're doing a live recorded show for that too. So there will be tickets being sold for that. But that's airing, I think, on the 25th. So.
No worries. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time out today. It's been a pleasure. And
so much for having me.
We're so excited
really
for more
fun.
Bad Cop. Until then,
Yeah.
keep dancing on your Instagram. It's making everybody really happy.
Okay. There's been a couple people that reached out. They're like, thank you so much for this PSA. I'm like, yeah, man, that's great. Like, any more PSAs that need to be brought to my attention, I'll do like a romance.
Well, you said you did gym. You were a gymnast for a while. Or you're into gymnastics. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that
For
until you were dancing and talking about how you did a podcast with the Propaganda podcast guys. So.
Oh yeah. It was it's what helped create this miniature linebacker physique that you have right here.
Can't knock you over.
Yeah, no, I may be short. And I just posted a meme actually today of like when you're short and but athletic, and it's like people like these little girls like climbing the freaking like counter or the shelves at the grocery store trying to get the top jar. I'm like, that is me.
Yep.
Like, I know that life.
5'2" queens unite.
I know. 5'1", baby. 5'1".
Yeah. Okay.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, you too. And
Thank you.
Go Philly. I'm Miss Philly.
Come see us when it's allowed.
We'll go to Tattoo Moms when we're able to.
Yeah, get some mom bombs.
Get some pierogies.
Yeah.